a fasting-based process, a fasting-based routine. Doesn't have to be very intense, though. What people call intermittent fasting, I just say fasting within a day of some level, maybe eating once or twice, and then opening up some food-free space. Like when we take away the hype from it, I've watched tons of YouTube videos try to understand, like, oh, what is the discussion here? What is that like? And people are like, oh, and people hit things very hard. You know, to me, not a lot of hype. I try to be anti-hype. You know, I'm like, let's just chill out and have a coffee and sink into a space and have some discussions here. You know, people were having discussions like this thousands of years ago. Fasting, and we have, you know, I did the talk the other day where we were looking at the study from the 60s in Philadelphia. I've got another study I found from like 1918 in Canada that I'm kind of putting together a talk on maybe for next week. Where I was like, oh, they were treating people, you know, in the early 1900s. And then you can walk this all the way back. You know, people in ancient Greece are doing the same thing, using fasting as a healing space. So that's the part of things where it's like, this is not any kind of hype. It's not anything new. It's just actually, we forgot about it. You know, culture just thought, oh, we're beyond anything like that. You know, we're in this new era of technology, and we have like real medicine now where you can just take medicines for every problem. It's like, no, there are certain parts of that are really good, like antibiotics, for example. Antibiotics is such a total miracle, right? You got some infection in the body. Okay, now you take a pill. Well, that really does just bring the health. Like an antibiotic delivers, you know, like a really miraculous thing. Some side effects too, though, killing your microbiome. So, of course, the real goal is to say, how do we not need something like that in the first place? And the big picture is that if you have optimized your metabolic health, you're very much less likely to need an antibiotic in the first place because you're optimizing your immune system functioning. It's like you're keeping that system in such prime condition that the pathogen does not stand a chance to start with. That's what you want. So this is the real root level, the fundamental place of health that really the whole healthcare system should be based on, in my view, which is how do we create so much health and flourishing that we don't even need medicine? Like the real medicine, like the ultimate medicine, would be the process that keeps you so healthy that you don't need anything, you know? To me, there's so many mirrors, parallels, analogies between these spaces. Fasting metaphorically giving us part of that vision to realize, like, I have everything I need in this space, don't need anything else. From that space of openness, saying, I don't need anything else in this space, don't need to consume anything. It's like health is arising in the body. That is actually creating the conditions that manifest that vision, you know, by practicing contentment in that space. The self-reliance and strength of the body, like, actually helps to create the manifesting, the strength out in life. Where it's like, no, really, we're good. Really, we don't need anything. We're just good right here in this space. Do you see how that is profound? Like, I want that deep kind of level of thinking to be out in the healthcare system. Like I think it's possible that the healthcare system could be completely transformed through this type of thinking. Not hype of intermittent fasting, like, oh, this is simple, you just go through a thing here. It's like really sinking into the physiology of saying, or what I say, like, oh, this is easy. That's what I meant to say, because it is simple, but not necessarily easy, right? Not like, oh, you just make this one change. You don't really have to be thoughtful. It's just like this thing you do and it just works and it's just like, boom. Like, no, look what we're doing in this space every day. We like sitting here. We're having deep conversations. We're really working on it, okay? It's a practice. It isn't just so simple as saying, oh, like, you just do this. Like, no, this is something that is real and a process that you have to get better at, and you open up the space and you work on it, and there's hills and valleys, and it's just a process of growth, right? This is personal development. This is learning and growing and shaping, like, the whole health experience. And, you know, what we eat, how we eat, you know, our relationship with food, you know, these things are very complex, and, you know, food addiction as much as anything is real. Absolutely. And powerful and difficult. And so what we are trying to do, what I'm trying to do, all of us together, come into this space. We have tools. Okay, this is what I say, the natural process. How do we lose weight naturally? We have tools to do it. You know, society in large measure, outside of the niche areas on YouTube, the few channels that are throwing out, you know, fasting related content, there's like a world where people get fasting, right? But most of the space in America, nowhere on the radar. They think the toolkit is you just got to exercise and you got to diet, right? Isn't that what most people think? Most people think, well, I got to diet, which means calorie restrict without fasting. A generally miserable process for most people. Calorie restriction without fasting, if it works for you and it's not miserable for you, it's not, I don't think it's damaging. It's not that it's bad. It can create conditions of metabolic slowing. There are studies that have looked at that we can slow our metabolism. But like a slow metabolism is still moving, and if you're exercising enough, maybe that balances it. There's definitely people that can flow through that space. I say the majority of people, I say that type of space is better at keeping someone from gaining weight in the first place than it is for losing weight once you have gained it. In general, that's been my observation. But if it works for you, like, do it. Nobody has to do fasting. Didn't we read that in here? Like, is this what we want? Do I really want to be doing this? If the answer is no, don't do it. Nothing forced. This is the big thing. The natural way of weight loss is openness and flow. It is not forcing something. If we are forcing something, very hard to make something forced sustainable. We're going to spend our whole life forcing something. This is how we burn out. Most people, in my experience, in the broad culture, most people who try to lose weight are trying to force it in some fashion. They are pushing things beyond a level that they are currently enjoying. This is what I'm trying to show here, that the real way of health, the sustainable, natural way, is a flow state that is moving toward love, light, beauty, joy, positivity. That is the way of being, that is just overflowing, you know, in energy. It's like, we want that kind of being. If you can dial into a space like that, where it's like, look what I'm doing here. I'm doing something exciting, interesting, fun, new, you know? I was like, I'm pushing myself a bit here, and look, it's okay, you know, okay? Like, if you are having a curious, joyful experience like that, like, you're gonna be able to stick with that. Why would you stop it, you know?